And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, Darren back with you here at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles channel. Glad to have you with us today. It is a rainy day. Man, I'm telling you, we're getting a lot of rain this early spring, and we got a lot through the winter. Good for our hay production. Yesterday I dug 2 post holes by hand with a set of post hole diggers. We don't use an auger for our tractor. It's just an expense that we've never seen necessary yet, but maybe one day. But for now, we do it the manual way. We dig our post holes for our fence posts with post hole diggers manually. And I dug 2 different post holes yesterday, and boy, I'm telling you, the soil is wet. When you're using post hole diggers and you go down and you squeeze the kid and pull out, it wouldn't even fall off my post hole blades. The grippers that cut into and grip, you were able to pull the dirt out. The soil was so wet all the way down to, I dug 2 post holes about 30 inches deep, and the soil was wet the whole way down. From the surface, they was just a little bit dry on the surface where we hadn't had rain in 2 or 3 days. It was not just sticky wet right on the surface, but once you got about 2-3 inches under the sod, from there down, it was just, I mean, you could just clump it into forms. It wouldn't even come off my post hole diggers. When I pulled dirt out of the hole, I had to find me a rock to bang them on to get the dirt to let loose from the blades of the post hole diggers. It was just so wet and sticky. Good sign. Good sign for our hay production. The ground is good and moist. Our hay's greening up good. It's looking promising for this year. Our test plot's doing really good, and we've got some work to do on our larger hay fields. We've been fertilizing them, but we got a weed problem in a couple of them we got to get under control soon. But anyway, we're back to our goat fencing project. It's a rainy day. It's not just pouring rain, but it's wet enough out to working on fencing stuff. Unless it's a necessity, it's just going to create mud and a mess. So we're inside the shop again today. Good news, if you follow our channel, the issues we were having with our solar charge controller for our DIY solar fence energizer build, I think I've solved those issues. Believe it or not, that dirt cheap Chinese fence charger controller seems to be working for now. We have it out in the field. The solar panel is mounted on a post, and the box we built and all is in the field. And even though I don't have it wired to the fence yet, I did test it out in the field, and after doing a lot more reading and research on that cheap charge controller that a lot of people told me would work for a very basic system like that, seems to be working for now. We got our fingers crossed. So that cheap charge controller seems to be working, and if we need to, you know, replace it in the future, then I'll have no issues about doing that, because the safety and security of our pasture, keeping our dairy goat herd in and predators out, is paramount. So if that needs replaced in the future, we will sure do that. But for now, that cheap charge controller is working. It appears to be working. I tested it yesterday with a multimeter and the settings. We finally got power on the settings to come in and charge the battery, and So far, so good. Fingers crossed. I don't have a lot of faith in that cheap Chinese stuff. But we'll see. Today we're in the shop and we are continuing with our goat fence build part 2, and you wonder how can you be building a fence inside the shop. And today we are working on a new gate. Gates are essential to your pasture, rotational grazing, your perimeter fencing. You got to have gates. You got to be able to get in and out. You got to be able to move animals in and out. You got to be able to get equipment in and out, tractors, vehicles, whatever the case may be. This pasture already has a 12-foot gate already in the existing perimeter fence. So we're good there. That gate already has wire attached to it to keep goats from being able to go between these tubes on these tube style gates. And we have purchased another 6-foot gate to use as a walk-through gate. This will allow us, with a gate latch on it that we buy for all of our gates, to just easily walk through and not have to swing that big 12-foot gate open just to get through. We can easily just swing this little 6-foot one really easily multiple times a day to walk through. A smaller gate's just easier. So we're going to be installing this right next to where our solar fence energizer is. We're going to cut a section of the fence, install this 6-foot gate with a gate latch on it. And gates are important on your fence. You got to have them. And also, if you have goats or sheep, this is a 6-tube gate. If you put these gates up as is, your goats are going to get out. You can buy tube gates that already have the wire mesh welded on them. As you can see, I'll try to tilt this gate up a little bit. You can see what I'm talking about here. It's just your standard 6-tube gate, 6-foot wide, 5-foot tall. If you put this gate up as is, young goats and kid goats, and even probably some adults, if you've got a doe in season and a buck on the property, they're going to go through this. Predators will go through this at nothing. This has to be fortified somehow. And what we do is we purchased a roll of fence wire. It's 4 foot, and it has the 2x4 squares. It's like you would normally buy for a dog kennel or something like that. I think it's Red brand. And we cut that and we attach it to the gate with wire. We just take wire and wrap around the tubes to attach this wire mesh to this gate to fortify it where our goat kids and the adults or predators cannot go through this gate. It secures it. One thing about a gate too, if you have sheep or goats, small ruminants, you need to put your gate as low to the ground as possible. With cattle or horses, you can bring that gate up a foot so it swings easy, and that's what I would do. But with small ruminants, you need to put your gate as close to the ground as you can get it, because those goat kids and even adults, if they're determined enough, will go under it. They will squat down and they will belly crawl and they will go right under it. You need to keep these gates as low to the ground as possible when you're installing them. Keep that in mind. All right, we've already cut us a piece of wire, and it's a good day to be in the shop working. You can still be doing something to build our goat fence inside. So we're going to attach this wire to this gate. We're going to use some scrap pieces of the wire. We may not have enough, but we're just going to use some scrap pieces of the wire. We'll take our linesman pliers and we'll cut up and down this thing to get lengths of this wire that we can use to wrap around and tie off our new mesh fencing or 2x4 fencing to this gate to fortify it. So, even if the weather's not conducive for being out in the pasture, actually pulling wire and putting up insulators and doing things, there's things that's got to be done that's time consuming that you can take off doing inside on a rainy day to speed up your process. When this gate is, when our fencing is to the point where we're ready for this gate to go up, it'll be ready. Here at our farm, we decided to start a YouTube channel and sharing what a small family farm consists of from the day-to-day basis in reality. There's days in reality of farming that, especially on a small family, 1-2 person operation, that you're so busy you just can't film everything. It's just impossible. But our channel's very small, and we're hoping that it grows. We enjoy sharing our content, sharing our day-to-day chores and things about a small family farm, and we got a lot of stuff coming up. We're closing in really soon on hay season. We're looking really forward to taking you along with us as we try to get our weeds under control out in the pasture soon, and milking the dairy herd, our does. It's in milk soon. We prefer to leave our kids on moms, on our does, for at least 4 or 6 weeks so they're healthy. Nothing beats mom's nursing and mom's care for those kids. So we could pull them early and bottle feed them or bucket feed them, you know, but I'm not personally sacrificing our animals' overall health, long-term and short-term, for profit for us. It's just, that's not worth it to us. If we keep our animals as healthy as they can be for the long term, they will be more profitable to the farm and more of an asset to the farm in the long run. So that's what we strive to do. We're going to be cutting hay come probably sometime late May, 1st of June. Baling hay with a little mini round baler, things like that, analyzing hay. We're going to do a hay analysis hopefully this year on our hay to see all of our protein content and all that type stuff that a analysis will provide. We got a lot of stuff coming up that we're looking really forward to sharing on our channel. But you know, we don't watch much TV here at our home. We watch probably YouTube more than anything, and we're really selective about what we watch on YouTube. I don't know really how to say this, but you don't have to search YouTube very long for farming channels to suddenly scratch your head and go, what in the world is this? Clickbait titles. Man, I'm telling you what, just this morning, my morning routine after barn chores, came in and poured me a good hot cup of coffee and sat down at the computer for a moment to check my email and things of that nature, and pulled up YouTube, and it pulls things up on the algorithm that you in the past look at and things you watch, and you know, it pulls up a lot of farm content for me and tractor content and things of that nature, which I really enjoy. But you know, you see a video with about a family farm farming in the heat, and it's got some young lady that ought to be ashamed of herself sitting in a tractor seat with very minimal clothing on and very provocative, suggestive clothing, and showing a lot more skin than needs to be on YouTube. It's all about getting people to click and subscribers and making money. And folks, if we have to put our morals into the proverbial gutter or ditch to show what farming really in reality looks like, and don't let me just say this, then I'll keep going. If we have to put our morals and our integrity into the ditch to try to make money by putting vulgarity and borderline, whatever you want to call it, onto the titles of our videos and things just to get traffic onto our channels, then it's a sad state of affairs. Our channel will never have any of that, never. And we believe that we should represent small family farms in a positive light, with integrity and morals, and being the best stewards of our land that we can be, and being honest and forthright with what we're doing. And if that's not good enough, then so be it. But I believe there's enough good, decent people out there that sees through that stuff. Of course, if you look at some of those videos and you notice their channel, their subscriber rate is through the roof. It's unreal that that many people have subscribed to that. So, and they're not, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them's not really truly representing what small family farming is. It's and on the flip side, I know I've been told of some channels that they're not really a farm. They started a YouTube channel and they brought a few animals in, and even have animals brought onto their property that they really don't even own, to pretend they're theirs for their YouTube channel, pretend they're farming, and they just do the farming gig act for the YouTube channel. That's the only reason it's there. And I can assure you that our farm was here for years, and we were actively working this farm trying to grow it from the ground up. I can assure you that everything that goes on our farms is real. We don't stage things. We will never add titles just for clickbait. We will never stage things going on. We will never, even if say a tractor company come along and said, hey, we want you to use our tractor on your channel, and just pretend that we did that. We would never pretend that we got that equipment any other way. We would honor what we've been entrusted with, and would not present it in a false light. So there seems to be more of that, and it's growing and growing. And I'm not just talking about a piece of equipment, but about farms. It's really only started because of YouTube, and things in their videos that are just immoral. You don't, your average hard-working farmer lady, and I know this from a fact because my wife is a farmer. My wife's not out in the field on the tractor or milking goats or something with a bikini on, or that's just, well, it doesn't take a lot for me to really get my blood pressure up over some of that they're representing farmers in that light. And You'll never see that here. Let me just put it that way. It will not happen. We're going to represent what we really do and what really goes on when nothing's staged, and we're going to do our very best, dead level best, to maintain our morals and our integrity and be the best stewards of our land we can be and represent the truth of really what's happening. So, I got that off my chest. Let's get back to a little bit. One thing before I go, let me say this. I don't want that to end negatively. There are some excellent YouTube channels. I follow several small farmers on YouTube as well, and there are several that are fantastic. They represent small family farms perfectly. Very, very glad to watch those, to endorse those. I keep up with them when I can. You know, when you're working on a farm, you can't just sit and watch TV, you know, for hours a day. But late at night, when we've come in and the farm day is over and we've had supper in the house, me and Susan will sit down and for our, you know, 30, 40 minutes of rest before bedtime, and we'll watch a couple of videos on YouTube. And I'll just go ahead now and give a shout out to a couple of channels. Just a Few Acres Farm. Pete, good job. Love your channel. Lamb Farms, a young guy over in Tennessee. Great channel. Keep up the good work, guys. And there's a few others I'm sure I'm missing. Green Acres Homestead. Those guys are great. Enjoy watching them. Just fantastic. There's some channels out there that are not morally bankrupt and are really representing what's going on, and they're striving to be the best farmers they can be, and they're doing a fantastic job. And I'm sure there's others. I'm sure. I maybe shouldn't even have mentioned channel names, but I'm sure there's others that are just as good and doing a wonderful job. And we really appreciate you folks. Keep up the good work. Okay, we've cut us a piece of appropriate length wire fencing, and we've got it laid out here. I've got it held down in each corner with just some zip ties. This stuff wants to just curl up, and you got to keep it stretched out somehow. And I put some weight on it. I set something heavy here in the middle to kind of hold the wire fencing down so I could get some zip ties on it. And now we're going to start putting wire. I've trimmed some off of the scrap pieces of wire here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll zoom in a minute. And we're just going to go along attaching this wire here to our tubes. And we're going to space it out every so often. We're going to tie it off with some wire. Okay, it's important you attach your new wire here to the gate very specifically in the corners, in both corner, this corner and this corner, to keep this wire very rigid. And I like to double wrap it. So I take this wire 2 passes around the fence, pull it tight. Okay, just pull it real tight, and once you get it tight, start you a twist. Okay, just like that. Okay, then take your linesman pliers and crimp and give her a twist. Be careful not to twist this too much. You can see the wire really tightening down on the gate. If you go too far, this will break. The wire will break. This is not some real heavy duty wire, and you don't want real heavy duty wire, then it won't twist good. Trim off your excess, and I'll zoom in here in a minute, but now you can see we've got a nice attachment. Those little sharp ends, Just tap them down. Okay, folks, our gate is done as far as the wire install on it. The fencing now, we have a gate that kids cannot go through, and actually adults, for whatever reason, can't go through, and predators can't go through. So we're done with it for now. We've went around and put the wire, as you can see, on different, spaced them appropriately all across the wire to the gate to secure it, and it's secure. You could we use 12 gauge wire to attach it. We use some of the wire off of this, but we didn't have near enough, so the majority of it's 12 gauge, 12 and a half gauge, let me correct that. But the gate's on, and gates are an integral part of your fence. You got to have them, and gates can be a weak link in your fence because they're not electrified. We will run, where this gate's going in our fence, we will run a double wall insulated wire underground to connect back to both sides of the fence. It'll come down and underground and up and out to the fence, so we can pass through this area without having to worry about a hot wire. And you know your gate's not electrified, and that's one thing on your gate, on your fence, that can be a weak link. So we do everything possible to negate that by putting our gate as low as possible, and putting this wire on it, and making sure our gaps on each side of the fence is close, so we have no escapees or trespassers. So thanks for being with us this evening. God bless you, and we appreciate you stopping by our channel and checking out our videos. We really do. We strive to bring family-friendly content as life on a working small family farm. We're doing the videos ever so often. We're enjoying doing them. It's been a pleasure. We've already had conversations and met with some really nice people, and we appreciate our subscribers. We'd appreciate if you haven't, if you would subscribe to our channel. All right, the gates are an integral part of your fence, our goat fencing, and we've got our gate ready to go up when that time comes. Thanks for being with us. God bless, and hope y'all have a wonderful evening.